talk in this session, and Michael Weiss, who's joined us recently in Exeter, and it's been really great to have him fly all the way over from the US to come and study in Exeter and work with us on this project. And he's going to tell us about how, again, salmon is important here and how that can affect social structure.
Hi. So as we just heard, as we just heard from Sam, we now have this really great analysis showing how social structure and an individual's position in that social structure affects individual survival. And we also have a lot of work previously showing the kind of obvious connection that the amount of food you have, the amount of salmon that's available to you, also will affect individual survival and fecundity. But I kind of want to fill in a missing point here and kind of zoom out a little bit and look at how food availability actually can then also affect social structure as well, kind of the global social structure of this population. So as we've kind of seen before, salmon abundance in this area on the Pacific coast has fluctuated a lot in the last few decades due to a lot of environmental variability. But because of this, we kind of have a good natural experiment where we can look at periods of very different salmon abundance and look at how the southern resident killer whale social structure has varied during those periods of different salmon abundance, using the methods that Sam was describing, where we actually build these social networks. And we can look at kind of how the structure of the network, of the social structure overall changes as salmon abundance changes. So this is kind of a social network in a year with pretty high salmon abundance. This is you can see it's really interconnected. The different colors are different pods, and you cannot even really make out the individual connections in this diagram because everybody is pretty much connected to everyone. Everyone's spending some time with every other whale. The amount of time they spend with each whale differs, but they're all kind of spending some time together. It's a really connected network. Everybody kind of knows everybody, and like Sam was talking about the importance of information, everybody probably has access to a lot of the same information here. But then if we look at networks in times of low salmon abundance, they become much less connected, much more diffused. We still kind of get the pods being significant units, but they're actually a little less so. There are some individuals here who only really have one connection in this social network, one animal that they're seen with. In this scenario, everybody doesn't know everyone. Information is going to take a longer time to move through the network, and this could have some pretty severe indications or severe implications for how animals are going to interact and survive, especially given what Sam was just talking about, where social position is actually affecting male survival. So why does this happen? There are limits placed on sociality by the environment. For example, here we have a picture of two whales probably sharing this fish. But you can imagine if you're traveling in a large group, there's going to be less fish to go around, particularly when there's less fish overall. You might want to decrease your competition by actually lowering your group size. So you want to travel in smaller groups, and that would actually decrease the connections in this network. Another thing is we know that killer whales tend to forage in specific areas, and when they do forage, they do it for a long period of time. So they might actually have less time to kind of roll around and play and just enjoy each other socially, which that kind of social behavior can really strengthen social bonds. So a combination of this trade-off between foraging and travel and socialization, as well as increased competition, might be driving these changes in social structure. But there's still a lot of questions we have about what's driving this and what the implications are for these changes in structure with salmon abundance. And some of those questions we have are, so what are the consequences for disease risk in this population? You can imagine that social structure, who's interacting with who and how frequently, is really going to have a pretty significant effect on how disease can travel through a network. In addition, information travels in a lot of the same ways. So the connectedness of this network is really going to affect how information can travel through it. And these are still outstanding questions. These are still things that we are looking to explore as we go forward with this research, using some of these statistical methods and some simulation studies. Yeah, and that's what I got.
Thank you everyone for sitting through a lot, and I'm aware that's a lot of talks and a lot of information to kind of get thrown at you all at once, but it was on purpose. We wanted to give a broad overview. Trust us, we only included a small bit of the work that's been done by the Centre for Whale Research in terms of the science. And that science, as you saw, especially in Mike's talk, has had global impact, not just about killer whales, but understanding of our own evolution and where we've come from, and how we can explain our own behaviour and our own life history. But also by analysing this data, we're starting to be able to predict where the whales may go in the future and some of the things that we might need to do to help them move forward. It's been a real pleasure, Ken, and thank you for having the opportunity. I don't know why you haven't let fish biologists come and have access to your data, but thank you, because it really has been fantastic. And we're just going to take a short break now, and then actually we will come back. There will be fruit, and I'm looking to see what else is at the back. Snacks at the back. We'll take a break. Please take the opportunity to go outside again. And if you haven't looked at the art exhibit, please go and have a look. It's absolutely fantastic. Get some fresh air. It's stuffy in here, and then we will reconvene in a short while.